Hello everybody and welcome to my next Doctor Who review. Doctor Who, The Reign of Terror. The 8th and final story in William Hartnell's first season as the Doctor. And the first ever full season of the Doctor. Of Doctor Who. So, the basic plot of Reign of Terror is that the TARDIS materialises not far from Paris in 1974. One of the bloodiest years following the French Revolution in 1789. The travellers become involved with an escape chain, rescuing prisoners from the guillotine and get caught up in the machinations of an English undercover spy, James Sterling, alias Lemaitre, governor of the Conciergerie prison. That is essentially your plot of Reign of Terror. So, The Reign of Terror, otherwise known as the first ever Doctor Who season finale. This is a very good story. I really like this one. Thankfully, it made up for the pretty dull story of the Censorites, which was the previous one. Yeah, this is a great story, and it's a really nice ending to that first season of Doctor Who. I really loved the historical aspects of this story. I wasn't keen on Marco Polo at all. I know it was a reconstruction, but it just dragged so much. Then the AZTECS was better. It was decent enough. But this I thought was really strong. It was just the setting of it is really intriguing. The whole idea of it being set in the French Revolution is fantastic, and showcases the spectacular production design. This probably has the best production design of any of the stories thus far out of the first season. It looks so good, and it looks so authentic as well. I'm just blown away by it. Absolutely blown away by it. The story is very intriguing. It's kind of like a thriller, sort of like a spy kind of thriller. And I like that. I really like that. It's like a sort of espionage thriller. It's set in the French Revolution, which is great. It's interesting how essentially this story we keep intercutting between the characters because they all get separated. One thing that surprised me was how dramatic it was. During the first part, the Doctor nearly gets burnt alive, which was surprising. Then, there's a lot of imprisonment, and then, Ian's on his own little quest. So the four of them have to reunite by the end. So it's a very it's a very kind of excuse me. It's a very interesting story how all three parties don't meet really until the end, which is nice. And there are some interesting supporting characters, although I can't remember their names for the life of me, other than Sterling. But there are some interesting side characters, and there's some interesting conflicts that happen. There's a jail man as well who gets quite heavily involved in the politics of this story. It has a bit more of a story than the Censorites, which is great. The incidental music that is there is really nice too. And yes, this is quite a long story as well. It's 6 parts, but unlike the previous one, it doesn't drag at all. It's well paced. I don't think it's expertly paced. It's paced well enough. It's good enough. It's paced fine. I think if it was any longer, then it would be too long. It's about as much as I could take. The performances are great. William Hartnell probably gives his best performance of the season, and when he changes into the sort of the French gear, so to speak, he looks great. It suits him like a glove. It's fantastic looking on him, and he definitely uses that greatly to his effect to disguise himself, which I think is interesting. And he's not slipping so much on his lines this time. I think he's enjoying himself in this one. I think you can tell by this point he's firmly settled into the role of the Doctor, and he's really enjoying it. He's really enjoying it, and I think it shows. I think it shows really well. Carole Ann Ford is Susan. She's good. She's good in this story, although most of the story she spends in prison, so she can't do all that much until the later half, which is fine. You know, I don't have an issue with that at all, really. Barbara's good too. Ian is good too. I think it's nice that the Doctor gets a bit more focused this time, because the past couple of stories he wasn't always the main focus. Like last time, Ian sort of got more focused in the sense, whereas then Barbara's story was in the AZTECS. So it's nice, and then the four of them collate at the end, which is really nice. There's so much suspense with the story. There's so much intrigue. There's no alien antagonist, but I think it's fine. It works. Unlike the AZTECS, I think it works here, because you have such an intriguing story, an intriguing thriller, and I like that. I mean, but the where this story sells is definitely the production design. The aesthetic look of it is just superb. I mean, it could be almost Hollywood standard that it looks that good. The BBC really outdid themselves there. It's written well. Dennis Spooner, who wrote the story, did a pretty good job. I thought it was solidly written. I don't think it's like a masterpiece or anything, but certainly good. There are a couple of moments when you think, okay, maybe we don't need this, maybe this is unnecessary, you could just move on with the plot now. But for the most part, it's great, and there's more tension with the characters, there's more drama, there's a few more conflicts as well. The stuff in part 2, I think it's part 2 anyway, surrounding when the Doctor finds that miner, sort of digger guy, who has his little group of people, the one who's after like the money or something, you know, that part of the plot wasn't needed really. You could have just cut that out really. Yeah, and I think the story's directed well. Henrik Hirsch directed this. Did a pretty good job. Did pretty well. I love the costumes as well. The costumes are really good, and they really obviously are authentic for the time. And it's also worthy to note that the Napoleon Bonaparte actually makes an appearance here, which is nice. You know, he has a small little cameo. I will say, considering that this is the last in this season, my biggest complaint really is that it doesn't feel climactic enough. It's nice. It's a nice ending to this first season, but it doesn't feel as climactic as I think it probably should. But I'm not going to knock the episode. I'm not going to knock the story too much for that. But still, you know, it's understandable. What I will say also is that there are 2 episodes of this story that are animated. 2 of them are lost. Well, the visuals are lost, but the audio isn't lost. So whoever uploaded it to Dailymotion has managed to reconstruct the 2, I think, episodes, parts 4 and 5, which are animated. But I actually thought the animation was really good, and I mean, obviously, considering it was on a budget, you know, the animation was good, and it fit well, and it was really good that they went to the effort to do that, and it made sense as well. I could follow the story quite clearly, and it made sense. So, yeah, good job whoever did that. My only other complaint really would have to be some of the supporting characters. There are quite a lot of them, and it gets a little bit, like, ambitious at points. I think it tries to be quite ambitious with its sort of thriller-esque plot. Like, you could probably lose a couple of these characters, and it gets a bit confusing as to who they actually are, and trying to remember all their names is quite difficult as well. But, you know, I'm not going to hold it against the story, because it's still a really good story for what it is, and there's a lot of suspense, tension, drama, intrigue, couple of moments of action here and there, some lovely performances, and a great looking piece. I mean, this looks so cool. I mean, like I said, the production design, they really went all out for this. They really went all out for it. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this one. That's it. That's my review of The Reign of Terror. Sorry about that. So, yes, that's my review of The Reign of Terror, guys. I am going to rate The Reign of Terror a 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's it. That's the first season done. As for how I'd rank the episodes, I'm not going to go into a full-blown video because I can't be bothered and it's pointless. There's so many seasons of Doctor Who. So I will just read out a list of my opinions, of my list of how I would rank the first season. This is a personal preference, so if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine, but just don't hate, please. Just comment, nice things. I'll respect your opinion if you respect mine. Okay, so the bottom of the list, number 8. Ranking at number 8 is the censor rights. Yeah, this one takes the cake as the worst, easily. Number 7, Marco Polo. I'm sorry, guys, I really want to like it, but I just can't. 6, An Unearthly Child. Again, I'm sorry, it is the first story, but there are just better ones here. Number 5, The AZTECS. It's still a good story. Number 4, The Edge of Destruction. Number 3, The Reign of Terror. Number 2, The Keys of Marinus. And number 1 is, of course, The Daleks. So, I'll just repeat that in case you've missed any of that. Number 8, The Censor Rights. 7, Marco Polo. 6, An Unearthly Child. 5, The AZTECS. 4, The Edge of Destruction. 3, The Reign of Terror. 2, The Keys of Marinus. And number 1, The Daleks. So, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching my video. And I've enjoyed reviewing the first season. And I'm looking forward to going on to the second season. This is going to be really fun. Yeah, and I really think that this first season was great. And, it's generally speaking, it's a mixed bag. But in terms of kicking the show off, it's done a great job. I really like William Hartnell as the Doctor. There's something very charming about him in the role, and I think by the end of this season he's fully embedded himself in it. He's launched himself into the role, and he's having a huge amount of fun with it. And I can't wait to see where it takes him in season 2. And I'll be ranking each season when I finish it. So the end of season 2, I will rank the episodes in season 2, and then when Hartnell's era is finished, I will rank the Hartnell seasons. Obviously I can't rank the 4th season because, well, he's only in it for a couple of stories, so there's no point. So I mean, it will probably be at the bottom of the list by default because he's only in 2 stories. Okay, but that's it, guys. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.